Hello. Welcome. I have something very cool to show you. Follow me. Here it is. This is my Atari Heavy Sixer. Now, to many people, this may look like an ordinary Atari 2600 system. If you know what an Atari is, of course. But I'm not going to get into that. But no, this isn't an ordinary Atari 2600. Why? Well, because of this. As you could see, the plastic is very fucking thick. Compare that to your common, everyday, regular ass Atari. This is a normal Atari 6-switch console. As you can see, the plastic is thin. Of course, the lighting here sucks, but you should be able to make out the difference. There we go. Focus that so it's easier to see. Now, people refer to this model, the more common model, as the light sixer. The one I just showed you over there, that's called a heavy sixer. Now, still looking at the light switcher model, the light sixer model, if you look at the edges here, you'll notice that it's very straight, very, it's almost like a 90-degree angle over here. And it's, it's kind of pointed on the ends. However, if you look at the unit that I'm showing you today, this one is very curvy along the edge. It's very sexy. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, it's got the curved edges here. If you look at the bottom very carefully, you'll notice that the bottom here also curves. Whereas on the light sixer, the bottom is very straight. It may curve a little bit, but it's not as apparent if it does. But on the heavy sixer, over here, you can easily see a very nice little curve here. Yes. So anyway, what is the heavy sixer? Well, it's just basically another Atari. It's just heavier. That's why they call it the heavy sixer. When you pick this thing up, it feels like it weighs a ton. It probably is almost as heavy as a PS3, to be honest with you. And the light sixer is noticeably lighter. Anyway, let's power this thing up. To complement it, its wood grain, I've got a nice, beautiful General Electric transistorized TV. It's supposed to be a color TV, but it never seems to work all the time. some reason. So, it only displays in black and white. Now, I've got a bit of a story behind this heavy sixer Atari. Now, this is usually referred to as the less common version of the system, and because of that, usually it goes for about $200 on eBay, or even more if you get the system with all the parts and stuff. However, I got this particular one for $34 on eBay because it was in non-working condition. It was missing an RF adapter. Well, no, it was missing the RF cable itself, which is sort of built into the console. And it had a bad PIA chip. And I went ahead, replaced both those pieces, and now the system is actually almost fully functional. So you can see the unit works alright. It's in black and white, but that's because the TV's a piece of shit. I got a Sega Genesis controller hooked up to this thing. But yeah, so I fixed it. What's nice about the Heavy Sixer is the parts for Heavy Sixer Ataris and Light Sixer Ataris are interchangeable. If you have like an earlier Light Sixer, you can actually replace a broken Heavy Sixer's parts with parts from a Light Sixer. I don't know if you were able to catch all that, but basically the parts in both models are interchangeable, so it makes fixing a Heavy Sixer much more simple than you might think. So, let's just take a look at a game on here. This is a game I programmed. It's Game Catcher. The color isn't gonna work. Here's the, it's got working menus. You could select 1 or 2 player. It's got, there's the game itself. Got a custom kernel there. It shows 3 different pieces of information. Your object is to just collect the floating squares. The squares that are still are money. They give you money so that you can afford more floating squares. If you run out of money, which is indicated right there, the bottom number there. If you run out of money, the game is over. And if the opponent's number gets to 25, I believe, first, which it looks like it's gonna, I'm gonna probably lose this round here, then the game is over too. See, I lost. I got a sad face. But anyway, it's a fun little original game that I made for the Atari. Runs pretty good. Now, the only problem with this Heavy Sixer is this. Even though I got it fixed to working order, there is still a slight problem with it. And I'll show you that problem right now. This here is a test program that I put together. It's a little test program, nothing special. All it does is test the 2 joysticks connected to the Atari and all the switches. So here we got joystick 1, which would be this controller here, and joystick 2. And then those 5 blocks are the switches. I'll get to how that works later. But see, you can actually see the problem that this unit still has that I couldn't fix yet. It's more noticeable on the second controller than on the first one. But, see, I'm not even pressing the fire. There isn't even a second controller connected to this thing. And it's like rapidly pushing the fire button. On the first player, it's not as bad, but it still happens. It doesn't happen at the same rate as the second player. But how this works is like, I push a button on the D-pad here. I can move that little dot, and that's how I can test the D-pad. See? I'm pushing left, right, up, down. And then when you push fire, the block is supposed to grow like that. That tells you that it can detect the fire button. And so, but it's getting presses from the fire button without me even touching it. So, like, see? Like, I'm not even doing that. I'm not pressing the fire button right now. And it'll detect just random presses from it. However, when I push the fire button, see, now I'm pushing it. So it still detects my presses. But it's also detecting those spontaneous random presses that I'm not doing. And look at the second player. It's like it's detecting, like, it's just holding down the fire button. Like, it's not even letting go of the fire button now. But it still detects the regular presses like it should, but it's also detecting these weird presses from God knows what. Now these little dots down here, those represent each of the 5 switches on the Atari. I left out the 6th switch because obviously that's the power, so I mean, if you want to test the power switch, all you gotta do is turn the thing off and on, so, you know, it's pretty good. But anyway, like, and they're in order too, so like, this is the, when you turn on a switch in its up position, it puts a little block over that, so that means it senses that the switch is up. And when you push it down, when you push the switch in the down position, the block disappears. So right now I have it in black and white mode. Now it's in color mode. The switch is in color. And then right now the difficulty is set to B for player 1. Now it's set to A. So you could test all your switches. Let's see other difficulty. And this is game select. You can test your game select switch and your game reset switch. So yeah, it just basically tests all the inputs of the Atari console that it can take. The only thing it doesn't detect is the paddle controllers, which I might put something along the edge of the screens here, for the paddles, but it's a pretty handy little application, and it's good for troubleshooting defective units. It sure helped me pinpoint this problem that I'm having here. So, yeah, if anybody knows what could be causing those weird presses of the fire button, and I'm not even, look, the controller's on the table, so I'm not even handling the controller right now. And see, but it doesn't happen as bad on the first player controller, so I guess if you're only playing in one player mode, it works okay, but yeah, it's just a weird problem. This TV is also pretty fucked up too. I can't get it to show in color. Sometimes it'll go in color, other times it won't. Yeah. That, I think, is a 2 problem. So I guess you could call this the command center for defective equipment. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's the Heavy Sixer. So, hope you enjoy this video. Hope you like looking at my big nose and stuff. And I'll see you later.